Take that as a no. And for that being the case, I want to thank you all for being here and enjoying this lovely epilogue to season 6 in Soup City Sins. The title of tonight's episode is What You Do Not Want Done to Yourself. And with us being in media res for the most part, with everything that's happening, we will dive right in with the sound of sirens in the distance. The coterie having made it back just ahead of a very violent, destructive police chase and having had a face-off and stand down with the outfit's premier middleman, their premier enforcer, the person that makes bad guys quake in their boots, with him depositing a body of a young woman in front of the shelter. The sound of sirens is so very much the opposite of welcoming, so very much the opposite of good news. And as those sirens grow closer, we will take a small aside and disappear to a temple on the north side of Chicago. It is roughly about 15-20 miles from the Haven. In that temple, we find Alex and the Kimpo temple having a quiet moment inside the centermost room where the implements and tools of death abound, very much loaded for bear. The implements of death, the weapons of a variety of edges, lengths, styles, and craftsmanship adorn the walls. It is also not simply because of the weaponry hung about, but also because of its central location, the most secure in the entirety of the temple. It is also one of the most hidden. So, Alexander, your own past is much similar to mine. I'm glad that you understand that who we were does not mean that is all that we will be, all that we will become. Have you hit upon a plan of action in regards to dealing with the Akashic Arrow?
I think the best is to probably, if possible, take shifts between your judges and have sort of 24-hour surveillance on the temple. Unless you had a more offensive thing in mind, I just don't see the point in provoking them. They're all fighters. I went there, and I don't think a forward assault on them would be smart or right at this point. I think it's just better for us to defend ourselves and probably be prepared for another attack or another vandalism attempt or anything like that.
Wait and see is often a good plan, but I'm not sure that in this particular case that they will abide by such a standard plan. They seem most offended with me gathering our forces, with me helping the other temples in our order to find their own path forward, to operate as a singular temple, even though we are disparate in location.
So they're interested in ending this conflict a lot quicker, is what I'm hearing. They don't have forever to stand guard and deal with this.
Correct. Our assistance is only guaranteed for a small period of time with them. Soon they'll...
Yeah, that makes things a bit more complicated.
the clock typically always does, and I do apologize for having needed your assistance in this. I would much rather you remained safe and secure away from all of these troubles.
You were right to ask for my help, but I'm gonna have to go a little bit outside my comfort zone to deal with this situation then, in light of this new information. I didn't think about that before. Then I guess we need a plan. The Akashic love challenges. So if we challenge them, that's only going to provoke them. So if we make any kind of move, it has to either neutralize them or rout them. And I don't see any routing happening.
Even with your skill?
They're quite an overwhelming force. I went over there and let's just say I sparred with them a little bit. And I'm not saying your guys' are slouches. I'm just saying the Akashic definitely are not. So, and they are quite numerous. By their account, they're getting bigger all the time. That's what the point of all these attacks on other temples is recruitment. To spread their ideology. And as long as that works for them, they're probably going to continue to do that, which is the whole problem that we have.
We should always attack the enemy where they are the strongest.
Alright. I suppose I should probably talk to the judges and you, seeing as they probably have experience in matters like this, or else you wouldn't have called for their help.
Yes, it was a decided gamble, because there is a very good chance that they may find that the arrow of the Akashic have not done anything ignoble, that they are in fact following a code, that they are in fact honorable, that they are in fact worthy of their continued existence. There is that chance, small though it may be, but it is better to have a fair shot of things instead of being completely at their disposal. And then the brazier, which has been used as the silent alarm, goes on in the center of the courtyard. An arrow falls into it, lighting it almost instantaneously, and you hear the unnerving silence of danger. There's no other way to say it, because the animals get quiet with frenetic activity. The night birds singing in the distance, the sound of them disappears. The street seems quieter, so you don't even the rush of cars as things reach a fevered pitch, though silent all the same. The Kenpo sighs deeply, rising from his seated position, and moves towards the door. He moves with purpose, and even with his experience and skill with the weapons on each of the walls, he does not grab either, and instead moves out into the temple proper to see what is the cause of such. What is it that Alex does?
Alex decides to go ahead and follow Kenpo.
Arriving outside of the temple, it is not the happiest thing to see several fighting teams standing. You do notice that there are 3 wearing a similar gi. There is another that's wearing a judo gi, and several others who have various different ceremonial combative robes of one stripe or another. And heartbreakingly, at the head of these groups of fighters, these myriad groups of would-be combatants, you see the master of the Akashic Arrow and 3 of her students. There are several things this could be, and you doubt that it is a housewarming party that they're planning. Gimpo Sai is looking to you because, well, you are in fact the muscle in this particular situation. You are in fact the response to what may go right or potentially go very, very wrong. That is, after all, your wheelhouse.
Alex is going to do his best to maintain a calm appearance on the outside and simply say, I don't suppose you're here to borrow sugar.
That would be correct. We received your answer in regards to our offer, and being as you refuse, and you made such very pointed threats, I believe that there's only one way that this will end, but I'm willing to give you the opportunity to back down. Now, you and your former assassin join us and call this whole thing off. The order is disbanded. Your fraternal sorority has ended. There will be no United Temple of Chicago. There will be not one singular path forward, and you will no longer stand in our way. What say you both?
What exactly would joining you entail?
Take a knee. Follow, obey, subservience. I'm sure it's something that you're quite used to, having others decide your path forward.
Well, that shows how well you know me. What kind of operations do you guys run anyway, besides vandalizing peaceful practitioners?
Well, as a neophyte of the way, the one way, you certainly have the answers you seek. But that is why we're here. So what is your answer, little one? Yay or nay? Will you take the knee and join us, or will force our hand otherwise?
If I don't take a knee right now, you're all going to, what? Attack the temple?
No, we wouldn't dream of attacking what will be ours. We will kill you where you stand, permanently.
All of us?
All of you. There's only the two of you. And if there are any students inside, we'll extend the offer to them, of course, as well.
Lean forward to the abbot and try to whisper to him to go get the judges.
He shakes his head, a smile on his face. If they are remaining hidden, is to see and to adjudicate what happens next. There is, in this moment, only you and I.
Wait, where did they go? I'm gonna look around. Do I see them anywhere? Are they with the Akashic?
No, they're not.
They're just gone?
They are not present. They are not visibly present.
And about how many opponents am I facing?
There's roughly 15, 20 people standing out front.
15, 20. And it's just me and the abbot.
Yes.
Alright. I'm going to, for now, Alex isn't going to say a word. He is going to look at the abbot and slowly start to take a knee. I don't want to just get him killed like right there, so I'm gonna I'm gonna try and see what I can do, but for now, there's it looks like live or die. So I'm gonna try to make a plan as things go on, and I'm gonna see if the abbot follows me in my actions, or if he doesn't.
Unfortunately, he wouldn't. You know that more than you know any other thing. A person who had gone from judging whether someone deserved to continue living and signing their very future of their soul away for the beliefs of following the way, so much so that he was behind the architect and designer of the citywide temple, i.e. all of the temples within the city joining the fraternal sorority, is his idea. Is the reason why they targeted him and your temple, this temple specifically, to break their will, to break the citywide order from taking place, from taking over, for shutting down the other paths of potential enlightenment and forcing everyone into the same order.
Yeah, I'm gonna mouth to the abbot to try and convince him to go along. I'm gonna mouth to him, trust me, as subtly as I can.
And as that dances on your lips and before you, with this situation having grown outside of what you expect, we shift back to the sound of sirens accosting the ears of those gathered at the haven. There is, as Hestia is running back a bucket of hot bleach water and soap, there literally is not that much time for them to be rounding the corner to in front of the haven. Bill, what are you doing, having witnessed the death of a relatively innocent human, to watching not only her be struck so callously, but purposefully run over in front of the haven?
He's probably being very calculating right now. He knows this, what's the name, Horatio or something like that?
Hugo?
Yeah. He knows that if he's with the outfit, he probably runs some errands for Jackson. So this is not the time to act, if there is a time for that. It's just like taking it all in and biting for time.
Okay, and as Dizzy disappears into the building, Hestia runs off to get cleaning supplies, and Lucio and Arsenio are making slightly larger mess by dragging the body out of sight. What's most immediate on Bill's thought process, knowing that there are sirens approaching, coming in hot and fast towards their location?
He looks at the rest of the vampires and just asks them, "Need a hand with that, or with that?" and points to the goon that's driving away.
Okay, so Hestia begins cleaning, throwing the water over the ground, and there's a deck brush suddenly in her hand as she begins working furiously at the blood as the police car comes skidding to a stop in front of the haven. While on the roof, having witnessed that callous murder, having witnessed the encroaching signs of police, what is it that Dizzy is hoping to explain or do as she realizes that they are again at the site of a ground zero for police presence?
In reference to Vivi's last question about being safer together, she'll kind of chuckle and say, not in this case. And she'll start looking for a way to extract the two of them from the scene without being overly questioned.
Well, on the roof, you guys have the bird's eye view, so watching, yes, the four marked police cars come skidding to a stop. One being that small SUV for the escort that they use, and the others being your standard line blue and white. Bill and Hestia are down front, while Lucio and Arsenio disappeared with the actual body. There's still a bit of a mess because, running over a person isn't quite what you think from running over a Lego. So there's a definitive smear and a trail of blood. It's not the cleanest of locations, but where you are on the roof keeps you easily out of sight. Even most cops don't naturally tend to look up unless, of course, they know that there's a camera there.
Yeah, if we can get, if it's possible to get onto an adjacent roof or there's a fire escape we can take to get down and out of here, that would be what she's looking for at this point.
Okay. Unfortunately, you're a victim to the paranoia of the coterie as it once were. The only way up are the few hidden passageways through the maze of the building up to the roof. The top floors have been boarded up, and most of the windows have been boarded up, so it's not like there's easy access or egress from the roof. It's one of the fewer externally secured areas of the haven.
All right, well, I guess we will just kind of wait it out up there then.
Not to beat a dead horse, but you can definitely blame your good friend Simone for the coterie's previous paranoia when it came to security. That was his baby. That was his focus. That was his drive. A few things that of lasting impact that he had besides the situations that he left for you all to solve. As that realization of being either down through the building and past the police, or take a running leap off of the building settles in, Bill, you and Hestia had the opportunity to speak with the uniformed police officers who arrived. It is clear that they came for business. They came to do God's work. They have guns drawn as they step out of the vehicle. They don't point them just yet, but it's clear that they are gathering and taking in the scene because they were called for some amount of pernicious evil taking place at a very problematic location.
Okay. I'm gonna try to roll some persuasion and charisma.
Really, what is it that you're going to try to say?
Just
Your story.
Maybe I know somebody in the precinct for my background or something like that. Try to sweet talk them, gauge where they are, where they are at, something like that.
Well, your knowledge from the seedier side of things, you know that there is one organized criminal outfit that rises above the balance of what any other one could, and that is the Office of Professional Standards for Police, better known as Internal Affairs, that's run by a Sergeant Lieutenant Gaiman and his boys in OPS or IA, who control the ebb and flow of narcotics and various other criminal enterprises. If you get the say-so from OPS and Gaiman, you pretty much got an opportunity to print a little bit of money long as you give him and his crew taste. The question is, in your dealings with the Capone gang, is that something that has been within your wheelhouse?
So probably not directly, but that's not the point. I just want to drop the name like in casual conversation. If I just know the name, because it's my understanding that Eddie Wu just likes to be around Chicago and not in Chicago per se. But something in the vein of, "Hey boys, good evening. You're from the 27. just to run, my cousin just to run with some of you boys. I think he's now working with I don't know this guy Gaiman. I think it's Gaiman, something like that.
Okay. There are echelons to such things. So guys, go ahead and roll charisma and persuasion. You're
Okay,
using
I'm gonna
full information.
arouse my charisma.
Actually, you see all of this taking place, and
Okay, good question. When they pulled up, had I already put the bucket and mop away, or is that still out?
no, you literally just splashed down as they came skidding to a stop. So while you do have a deck brush in hand, the scene is not as messy as it was, but definitively far more hoping for. Bill, okay. Well, actually, you see Bill smile dance across his lips, his eyes brighten with mischief, and you expect the smoothest, most heavenly words of mental seduction to fall from his lips. Instead, what actually happens is, you dumb motherfuckers, you're out of precinct, you have no idea what the fuck is going on. I work with motherfucking gaming and OPS. I will have your badge, I will have your father's badge, I'll have your mother's badge, I'll have your kids admitted to the academy so I can take their badge, and then their kids will get submitted to the fire department, transferred to the police, and I'll take their fucking badge. Do you have any idea who the fuck you're fucking with?
She's not often surprised, but there is a bit of a jaw drop, and she's staring at Bill like, oh no. And then she quickly whips to look at the rest of the officers to see how they're taking this.
There typically are two things that you never do. One is fuck with the police, and two, fuck with the police in front of other police. Looking at their faces as they take in Bill is like watching someone's soul get snatched from the back of their head. Their faces pale and blanch, and the fact that he is snarling and spitting in his face, even with all of the fury flowing from him, looks at peace. It looks endearing. It looks charming. If you didn't know any better from a distance, you could swear that he was wooing them or singing some very high-pitched Barry White. But up close and personal, hearing the sheer monstrous amount of threats leveled at them would make a sailor lose his nerve, make a Marine have second thoughts. The very real and accurate threats he leveled against them, with the veracity of their details, leaves nothing to the imagination as to how much he would fuck their lives over several generations. And somehow, in that diatribe put across so vehemently, it reaches their goal. Hey, calm down. If you were part of the organization, we apologize. We don't want any trouble with OPS. Look, we were called because there's supposedly a gang fight happening. We're going to put that to a stop. This area, we didn't know was protected. Mr. Hickok, forgive us. Let's not make this about anything else. It was just we were called out. We didn't know the area was protected. Mind you, can we dial it down a little bit? Just a little. We got to fill out the report that we were here, but we'll just say we showed up, everything was well. I'll even show it to you, okay?
She is not going to say anything.
Just smiles widely. Go ahead.
You know what? Let's not even worry about the report. And he gets on his mobile. Yeah, we're 10-2. There's nothing here. Everything's good. And you see, as he gets on his mobile, you see that three of them turn off their body cams. The fourth one turns off his dash cam. The other one actually remembers, and like an aha moment, reaches inside the car, turns off his cam as well. They get into the car and they back up and turn
Yeah, she's just gonna stand there in awe, like this is normal, but not say anything because she doesn't want to ruin whatever this is that's happening.
As they drive away, hit the block, like a balloon suddenly punctured. The air and visceral fury leaves Bill almost as quickly as it came on.
Once the patrol is out of sight, he's gonna start like shaking his hands and woo-hee, sister. That made me peckish, but it worked. And then he's winking.
Oh, wow. Well, if I hadn't seen it with my own eyes or heard it with my own ears, I would have never believed this is what's going on. But thank you. Thank you very much. You might want to go find Lucy. I think we might have a spare bag or two somewhere. I don't know whether you do bagged or what, but he might have some extra. I just want to finish cleaning up. Tonight has been very long and ridiculous for me, so I'll be in a minute.
Hey, pass the broom and then I can go and check the other thing.
Okay, well, I hand over the push broom and I hit it though with another bucket of water just to be absolutely sure.
So you ruin all potentialities of forensic data being obtained from the area from the murder that happened so callously in front. With both you and Bill roll wits and awareness while you are cleaning the sidewalk through remnants of the human's life that Hugo ended right in front of you, callously, very with all of the same care and concern as one would smack a mosquito. Yeah. As you're cleaning it and sweeping and all of that, splashing the water and deck scrubbing the sidewalk, Bill, you see it. There's a little plastic ID. It's not even really plastic. It's more of a laminated cardboard sort of thing. Doesn't mean much to you, so you continue sweeping it towards the gutter. However, Hesha, it does mean something to you. It means very much to you. It's a college ID.
Crap. So I go to pick it up because I know we're gonna need it. I hadn't gotten a chance to talk to Lucio about it before he went to the back, but I definitely felt like we needed to know who this person was so that we could anonymously help the family out in some way because they didn't deserve this, and maybe send somebody to look into where this person came from, that kind of thing. So I'm gonna grab the ID up.
You know, it's an absent thought. It's a standard, and just take a quick peek because you are picking it up. And as you look at the school, you realize two very important things. You've seen this ID before, not this specific one, but this type. It's the same school ID that both Faye and Sella have on file in their employment files. And not to belabor or beat a dead horse, you're pretty sure that that's the same building code as well. Their IDs. You can run into the office and check, but you're more afraid of finding out that is in fact the same building that they attend classes in, and not only the same building, but judging by your knowledge of the school codes, if not the same class, at least the same field of study, meaning that this woman was easily rubbing elbows or sharing the same breath and space of air as Faye and Stella.
That's why they picked her. Fuck. This is definitely a message for Lucio. Shit.
Here's a quick question for you as you look over that and consider that option. What would you do if someone threatened Donnell's nearest neighbor? How would you feel?
Like I should either remove them from the area of threat or get rid of the threat. But we were already planning on getting rid of the threat. We just couldn't do it right away.
Yeah, and if you tell Lucio right now, what do you think?
That he's gonna go do something stupid. So, I'm gonna sit on this knowledge for right now.
You do know someone who has the gift of gab that might be able to help you. Luckily, they went into the Haven not too long ago. And you know how the saying goes, speak of the devil and he shall appear. Though in this case, he would be stretching it considerably as Dizzy and Vivi are exiting the building.
So I take it you guys are going out for the night?
Yeah, it's probably best if we're not together right now. It's been, rather a lot the last 2 days.
Yeah, I guess I can understand that. You did kind of get dropped into the middle of a lot. Not particularly fair, mind you. But,
I mean, I did the things I did. I own that, but I'm making a lot of enemies and doing some things that maybe weren't good ideas in retrospect that are going to have repercussions on all of us, and specifically me.
that's just kind of, oddly enough, how we all are. I wouldn't have pegged us for troublemakers when I first was made as I am, but now I see you can't be one of us without getting in trouble somehow. So, there's that. My only thing is, I'm just gonna say this real quick. Every time one of us leaves and goes off by themselves, bad things happen. Especially with Clyde. Clyde should not be allowed out alone, much less anywhere with people, is what I'm thinking. But that, I know you're not Clyde. I'm not saying you are, but I'm just saying the theme of things is every time somebody tries to, I'm gonna get some space and goes off on their own, it bites us in the ass later. You are an adult, do what you please, but I'm just gonna bring that up.
I mean, I see your point, but and that guy tonight, I mean, if I had to make that decision 100 more times, I would make that decision 100 more times. Fuck that guy. But I realized he was important, and that's not just going to go unanswered in some fashion. And I think us all clumping together just makes it easier. I don't think this is going to be a safe place to sleep for quite some time.
Probably not, but I cannot leave the humans here unprotected without at least one of us, so that is my responsibility and I won't be here. But yeah, you have no reason to have to be here, so if anything further happens, I have your number and I will use the clean room. So yeah, stay safe.
There's a real potency to what Hestia suggested. There's a real unavoidable truth that singularly, even under the best of conditions, the best most of you all have managed while separated by any distance is skin of your teeth, escape versus defense, or even the ability to plot and plan. As those thoughts settle in, there is definitively one of your members who is not present. While Bill is a handy guy based on how quickly he was able to help scrub and clean the sidewalk, let alone how quickly he was able to call the police for what they were, in this particular case, the largest gang in the area, in the city. But there is one of your members who are not present, not just Clyde. And even with Dizzy having reached out to him, you all reached out to him when you were heading downtown initially this evening, there hasn't been a response.
Is that real?
For these battles, Bill's gonna tell her. Do you know what, sister? In my experience, the thing that provides most security in this freaking city is just the weight of your name alone. So, while being anonymous is better if you don't want any attention. The only thing that will make you safe and secure is the name that you make for yourself. And for what I've been hearing, all of you have been making a very large name for yourselves.
Yeah, but I murdered a primogen. And if they know where I sleep, they're gonna come get me.
Who knows that you did that, sister? I mean, only the people in here.
And the response team that was there 3 seconds after it happened.
Well, they know that we were there, not who did the deed.
I'm not suggesting anyone should sleep here.
Well, believe me, if the freaking sheriff wants a war with you, he will find you sooner or later.
I always prefer later.
Suit yourself, sister. Hey, I have a little cozy place just outside of town if you're interested.
But, it just dawned on me that I texted Alex earlier to let him know that he might be getting followed, and he hasn't replied.
Of course he hasn't.
Suit yourself.
And at that, she whip out her phone and send another text to Alex that just says, "Are you dead?"
Well, the funny thing is that if he were to text back, yes, would that make a difference?
Given as many texts I've sent that has been answered by theists, yes, it might.
Unfortunately, there's no response.
Does Alex get a text, or has he just not received any?
Oh no, he has not received any. There's a interference in the air thanks to the Akashic Arrow. And unfortunately, while things are moving at a rather rapid clip in regards to heading towards chaos, they are moving extraordinarily slow as far as the rest of the world is concerned. It is not often that taking a knee seems to be moving in slow motion, and that's exactly what Alexander is witness to. The time around them seems to have slowed to a micro fraction of itself, as despite logic dictating you lay low and play your cards and find an opening, unfortunately that sense of self-preservation, that sense of natural modern duplicity is not something that Kenpo can port one way or another. There's no facet of that to which he could hold any adherence. So as the moment comes where it is join or die, fortunately, bound as he is to his new life, the only answer for him, well then kill me then. And that very real, foolish honor and loyalty to the way forward, to the one true way, or the path of enlightenment that they follow, while both life-affirming and all sorts of brave, also makes Alexander as angry as you can be. It is literally like staring into the most foolish, frustrating person and thing you've ever seen, even though it fills you with a certain pride. A certain, yeah, that's my guy, you dumb mother. And while that realization is happening, while that exchange is taking place, with Dizzy not receiving a response, with Hesher realizing that there is one of their member out in the world on their lonesome, without contact, without returning any information, especially someone who texts as much as Alex does, that lack of response is disturbing, especially in light of everything they've witnessed over the last few nights. The very real danger that they've been put in, and the very real danger that he explained was threatening someone who matters to him.
So yeah, he's like not responding, which I guess isn't necessarily cause for alarm, but it's probably not a good thing.
Not if I remember right what's going on over there. It's definitely not a good thing. Shoot. Guess the
Who
night's
else have we
over.
missed off? So let's see, we've got the entirety of the Thin Blood Nation who's working with the Sabbat and the Second Inquisition pissed off at us. And then we've got all of Chinatown pissed off at us. And then I killed that Newburgh guy. Is there, and then the Mafia shows up. Who else is going to show up tonight and be mad at us for something we may or may not have done?
Not here showing up, but Alex, before he became what he was a Buddhist at a temple, and the temple was attacked recently by a rival religious sect of some sort that knows how to do magic. They're humans, but they can do magic. The thing is, before I became what I was, there was a similar sect chasing me and wanting to bring me in, and I was stolen from them by the Tremere. So it's along the same lines, not the same sect, but it's different. But they can do the same sort of magic, is what I'm saying. Will workers, that's what they're called. Will workers, and they have beef with his Buddhist temple, and they've been attacking it and destroying things, trying to show the people that go to his Buddhist temple the correct way to reach enlightenment, quote unquote, and they're assholes about it. So he went over there and was like, hey, stop being assholes to my people. And they were like, oh yeah, well, we're gonna fight you anyway. And then some shit happened, and then he went back to his temple to protect it. So I'm thinking that's what's going on, and there's probably some sort of gang war between religious sects going on right now. Who knows? It's weird.
Dizzy you for a moment and blinks and looks over her shoulder to her ghoul Vivi and says, all right, so I guess add karate thug beef to the list.
Bill is gonna get close to DC and try to whisper on her ear that, sister, I know you are weirdly proud about the Primogen and you, but stop saying that out loud. You never know when a freaking rat is listening, you know?
You know, I killed him for a reason, not just because I thought it was neat.
And if you are actually worried about the consequences, stop saying it out loud. I promise you, at some point, a freaking Nosferatu is gonna hear about it.
Well, I just assumed there were probably 8 in the room when it happened, so I mean...
As you all exchange that bit of understanding as the situation that you're in, so it's very slowly, a little slower than her usual, as if she's concocting the best way to say something. So let me get this straight. You all know that he's in trouble and you left him out there by himself?
we didn't know that was what was going to happen tonight. We knew that he was going to check on the temple, but the fact that he is not answering his phone means that shit went off quicker than it was supposed to. So yes, now he's probably in trouble and we need to go handle that. But originally we did not send him thinking that there would be trouble. We thought it was a simple, I need to check up on my temple, and this is what happens.
I mean, to be fair, they're Buddhists. How much trouble could they get in normally? Do we know where this temple is?
I'm saying, yes, I know where the temple is, but that's what I'm saying. They're Buddhists. Why are they fighting? I don't know.
What do you mean that they're just Buddhists? Do you know that the Buddhist Hmong were the reason why we survived Vietnam and Korea? You know that the Buddhists were the foundational for the rebellion that is still taking place in China? You know that the Buddhists have overthrown 3 empires in their founding? They're not people that you play with lightly.
Because they know Kung Fu.
Not all of them.
And all of them that are on the TV.
They're like pacifists or something. They like flowers and meditation and stuff.
But they're also the ones that taught Alex his fighting style, so apparently there is something to that, because he's kind of badass if you haven't noticed sometimes when he's not faced first in somebody else's blood. Anyway, besides that fact, yes, he can fight really, really well. So it begs to make sense that whoever taught him that was also really, really good at fighting, so Vivi does have a point. We should probably go check on him. And I know where the temple is. Somebody should tell Lucio what's going on.
Oh, well, I needed to talk with him, so if you don't mind. But don't get me wrong, I always wanted to try the Indiana Jones thing.
So Lucio's the one that's covered in blood, even more so than you, with the mafia guy, right?
Yeah, the little dark-haired guy, very broody looking.
For the record, you should have just let me shoot him.
Oh, you didn't want to shoot that one?
Yeah, the thing with that was it was a trap. They sent him here hoping we would attack him, because if we attacked him, then that would be open war on us. By sending him away, by frustrating him, it made us stronger or something. But yeah, they wanted us to attack him.
I mean, we're in open war with everyone else, so I don't think one more was going to make that big of a difference.
Character, correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't the outfit the enforcer's objection?
No, not specifically. The outfit is the Chicago mob as a whole. The head of the Chicago outfit are the Castiglione and Tories. The head of their enforcers, their middlemen, is Hugo. Now, the Castiglione and Tories being the head of the Chicago outfit, the most powerful family or group of families, their umbrella of activities crosses a lot of boundaries. And it wasn't until recently when Lucio discovered that those boundaries are even far more expansive than he thought, because they really were and are involved with the kindred of the city in various business and criminal enterprises, including but not limited to engaging OPS, i.e. Gaiman and his boys, for various activities. They act as delivery. They are wranglers. They help provide many of the missing as fodder for the circulatory network, the blood dealers of the city of various stripes. They help process the death and acquisition of blood and people to provide it. They help with various drug trades, firearm and legal armaments trades. They have their fingers in more pies than most people know exist, up to and not exclusive to electronic warfare and the tools to do so.
I'm going to tell this you. Before you pop that one, you need to have clearance, you know? They still apply. You cannot just go and do a Mayhem. And that's one of them heavy hitters.
I mean, I've been trailblazing all kinds of new frontiers lately.
Oh, well, I think it's heavier being all out in the open and stuff. But everybody has to do what they have to do, right?
So, speaking of all of this, are we gonna go and save your boyfriends?
Yeah, let's go scoop up Alex and save him from whatever sort of neat crisis that he's having. Maybe we can tick off an entire different demographic that we haven't touched on yet.
Well, you guys have touched on it previously. So, bundling up and trundling into a less destroyed van because of all of Arsenio's very neat and very skillful driving and, discharging firearms inside of it as you were hanging out. Something not as easily noticeable as, a 14-seater van that causes demolition derby style damage to the city and buildings around them as they shoot at other SUVs. Hestia, plans? Is there any suggestions, questions, idealized battle plan and strategy?
Well, if I was her remembering where this place is located, they're gonna probably want to sneak up kind of behind anybody that would probably be attacking, to kind of flank. But yeah, we're definitely gonna take a much more nondescript vehicle, and I'm gonna probably use one from Joe. Like, I'll text Joe for a location once I set up my new phone because I destroyed the other one. So I'm gonna go inside, get a new one, set it up while we discuss with Lucio.
Yeah, you definitely don't have time for that. So it'd probably just take Simone's. It is still there.
Oh, freak. Okay, so yeah, we'll take that one then. But I'm still gonna grab a burner from my office. So grab a burner from the office, grab the keys to Simone's car because that's where the keys would be, and then we'll get in it and head out. Sounds like a good plan to me.
Any counter suggestions? No, we're gonna do this first, or where are we going? Any non-joiners? Any kind of change directors?
Billy's gonna tell them, well, if you don't mind me dragging along, I just need a quick word with Lucio. If you left me the address, I can join you later.
Sure. So she will...
if he goes into... as strong as Bill has presented himself to be, if he goes into the Haven, you will be of use to no one. If he goes into the Haven, there is the fallout to you.
Yeah, I forgot the headache thing. I really gotta fix that. Like, one night when there's not something else going on. We're just gonna get him to come out. You can get in the car, I'll give you the address. You get started headed that way, and then I'll get Lucio to come out and let us know whether he's going or not. He might not be in any shape to help, though.
Considering what he witnessed, what he swam through, what you all dealt with, and how hungry he is, there's a good chance that Bill goes in, or if anyone goes in to try to interrupt him. Not sure what the result will be. You guys have seen what happens when the beast is at his breaking point.
Bill kind of turns into one heel and says, well, if he's under the weather, I can come back a different night. So you hired me. I'm happy to go with you. I've always wanted to try to see a real monk in action. Just like with some karate hands.
Well, the drive isn't as long as it seems. 15-20 minutes flies by in no time at all. Unfortunately, 15-20 minutes, you're not quite exactly sure what you'd be walking into. or if you're walking into anything. You guys could be arriving at the scene of a fire or a murder or several murders, as the case may be, and hearing, so then kill me then. It's not exactly something you all expect, but seeing so many bodies aligned against Alex and the short-ish Buddhist standing next to him. The saffron robes cut stylishly in a more party version, the everyday wear, not the robes of presentation and performative nature, but the daily, easy to wear, easy to don robes that are used when putting around the temple. So having arrived to see an array of people gathered in opposition to Alexander and a monk, clearly his Kimpo, clearly his abbot, clearly the leader of the temple that you guys are staring at, what's the first and foremost things on everyone's mind?
Need to feed.
Are we too late for the dance battle?
And as the awareness of those standing in front of you kind of turn to look at the ragtag misfit group of 5 that have suddenly materialized as if out of nowhere, prepared though they were for the quick and easy beatdown of the Kimpo and his friend and associate, the young Master Hunt, they're a little taken aback that someone and something living was able to get as close as you all were without them noticing. Much the same way as the Kinpo is a little surprised that they brought someone who, or someones who are clearly not of the world that they inhabit inside this one. And Alex, there's nothing so cutting as hearing Dizzy scathingly address others. She has the gift of gab. She's very adept at poking. Just that small, open, exposed chink in most people's armor, the derision of someone that they might even consider worthwhile, poking fun of them, just highlighting their glaring errors. Lo and behold, there she is. There's Hestia, and you're not sure who the tall cowboyish looking gentleman is, but there's also Dizzy's friend and associate, Vivi.
How many people are looking at me right now? How many are paying attention to me? Is everybody's attention on all the figures that have emerged, coterie or otherwise?
Let's say 60-40 watching the 5 who just appeared and 40 watching you.
Okay, so I do have some people looking at me.
Yeah, because they were prepared to watch you get beat an hour at 58 after the hour. Let's just make it an even hour, a nice 10 o'clock. 11 o'clock where we are. Unfortunately, we did not return from our break. We experienced a small bit of technical difficulties and Craig failed on us. It ended without any warning or anything else really, leaving us unawares that it had stopped recording. So, after we returned from break, Alexander launched into an attack aimed at leveling the Akashic Arrow's leader, while Dizzy distracted the bulk of those gathered with a surprisingly fervent and active dance-off initiation. Hestia, noticing that Alexander was attempting to move to strike the Akashic Arrow's leader, the small woman that she was, moved to intercept. When she moved to intercept, Bill noticed that near the temple there were several people moving in shadow, and he fixed his gaze on them. As he watched those shadowy movements of people near the temple, he also attempted to intimidate, to add his daunting presence to the dance-off that Dizzy was initiating. So to say it was a pell-mell, a hullabaloo, and a very chaotic moment would be an understatement. Just as Alexander's significantly experienced skill level with martial combat presented itself and showed how skilled he actually was, as he nearly made it past Hestia, the Akashic Arrow's leader parried and danced just outside of his reach. His Kenpo struck by how quickly Alexander was able to move, as well as how quickly the Akashic Arrow's leader was able to move, stunned and silent and stuck in his position. Exposed though he was, triggered Alexander's defensive instinct. He attempted to press his attack as Hestia attempted to keep him from striking down such a small human woman. She cast her gaze towards the woman, attempting to move her mind and demand that she and her still remaining forces exit the area. In doing so, Alexander imparted to Hestia that the woman needed to be captured, needed to be questioned, needed to be interrogated and cowed into launching any further attacks against the Kenpo, against the abbot, against Alexander's nearest, dearest friend. Hestia, thrown off guard by the Akashic Arrow's leader's ability to shrug off her mental demands, was stunned silent, but willing to help and assist Alexander to the best of her abilities all the same. As the leader began to back away, her need to protect Alexander and his friends and his family bubbled up as 2 crossbow bolts came flying from the darkness towards the Akashic Arrow leader. Bill, having spotted the shadow's movement, fired a well-placed shot, shooting from the hip as if he was some old West trick shooter, sharpshooter. He struck the agent who sought to end the Akashic Arrow leader's life, ending hers. As the Akashic Arrow leader began to slip further from their ability to capture her or curtail her escape, Hestia acted, summoning the power of her blood. She summoned forth Baal's caress, biting inside of her cheek, and then launched her attack at the Akashic Arrow's leader. Her attempt to keep the woman from fleeing the area, to keep her from being able to escape and launch another attack at another date when they may not be able to arrive so quickly and so timely. In the doing, Hestia wounded the woman to the very core of her being, to the very core of her soul, ending her life as Hestia drank down not only the woman's blood, but her awakened soul. And in that moment, as Hestia drained the woman into complete emptiness, flashes of what could have taken place in Hestia's life flittered past her eyes as the awakened light of the Akashic Arrow's leader filled Hestia. And with that bloody, tragic moment, we ended the episode. We drew to a close, and while the coterie sat about escaping the area, making sure that Alexander and his human associate were safe and sound, while Hestia dealt with the ramifications of having ended another life, a bright, shining life despite her actions. Bill contemplated on how he might be able to use this to his benefit, and Dizzy and Vivi escaped to have a beer and to mull over the very chaotic happenings of their last few days, last few weeks, last few months. And with that, the epilogue of Soup City Sins drew to a close, and we faded to black in preparation for season 7. Again, we are sorry about the technical difficulties that prohibited listening to the actual play as it happened. But we thank you for your time and all of your consideration. Have a nice night.